From the studios of the Brooklyn College radio station, this is Beyond the Box Score. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Box Score. I'm your host, Max, here with my incredible co-hosts, Oscar, Sean. How's it going, fellas?
It's going good, man. Going good.
I'm all right, man.
For the NFL.
Had a good weekend? Yeah, we had some good games this weekend. Not a lot, but just the right amount to keep it interesting, you know? Of course, we're also here with Zamari behind the camera. How's it going?
I'm back, y'all. I was out last week, but I'm good now.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Return of the King.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right,
back.
That's right. And we got the other king over there, Mr. Frank. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Max. We have a lot going on in the world of sports. Randy Orton has returned to WWE and signed a contract with SmackDown. And so that means, despite Paul Heyman's warnings not to sign with SmackDown, but hope all goes well. And phone lines are open, 718-951-4444. That is the number to call. I'm going to send things over back to Max. So, Max.
Thank you so much, Frank. All right, so we had some great games this weekend, but Fox's America's Game of the Week, the one that we were all super excited for, was, of course, the 49ers and the Eagles. The 49ers came away with a very decisive win. What was the final score again? It was 42-19. In that first quarter, coming into this game, I think we were all super excited. These are the top two teams in the NFC, pretty much undisputed.
Yes.
And I thought this game was going to be a lot more competitive, and it looked like that was going to be the case in the first quarter. You know, the Eagles had some nice drives. They weren't able to convert in the red zone, had to settle for field goals. But then all of a sudden, the Niners just came alive, man. 6 straight touchdowns throughout the game. Purdy was great, but he didn't have to do very much considering how well the skill position players played around him. Christian McCaffrey was amazing. Deebo Samuel was great. Trent Williams, they kind of just ran the ball behind him. It felt like the entire game. Guys, what are your thoughts on this game, how it played out, and kind of how the NFC is going to turn out in these next couple weeks?
This game proves to me that the Niners are the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Now, look, Brock Purdy is good, but at the end of the day, he's a system quarterback. But it's just they have so many weapons. He could go to so many different guys. It's Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. It almost doesn't matter because you're successful no matter what you're doing. It's just like he was fantastic. 19 for 27 non-completions, 314 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And it just seems start to finish that the Niners had a control of that game. And Jalen Hurts, Max, we talked about it off air. Jalen Hurts didn't really include the run game that much, right? He was passing it a lot, and it was a very misfortunate game here for the Eagles because I feel like this is a really telltale sign of, yes, the Eagles are good, but they're not good enough to compete with the best.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do agree with Sean. I think the 49ers, this is a statement victory for them. They kind of really planted their flag in the ground as the best team in the NFC. I think they match up really well against the Cowboys, and as they just proved today, I think they match up really well against the Eagles. That playoff game last season feels like a really long time ago. And I don't know, the Niners, after they lost that game to the Eagles last year, they were talking a lot of trash about, hey, if we had a healthy quarterback, we would have won. Mm-hmm. And at first it just sounded like sour grapes, but I think they were very clearly right. The Eagles haven't really invested in this iteration of the Eagles, this generation of success they've been having. Mm-hmm. They haven't really invested a lot of money in their linebacker position. And before last night, a lot of people weren't really paying attention to that. But I think the 49ers totally exposed that. They were just going up the middle all the time. They were running straight lines through this Philly defense. They had absolutely no answer for George Kittle or Deebo or Christian McCaffrey. They were just steamrolling through this team, and I think that's a big part of it. They had no physicality, or comparatively to what San Francisco was throwing at them, they had almost no physicality compared to SF. They steamrolled through this linebacker core, and I think if they play again the same thing will happen.
Yeah, I've said it a couple weeks coming into this game. The Eagles really, week after week, they do not look like that same team that I remember watching last year. Their record is great, don't get me wrong, but it seems like whether they're playing a bad team or a good team, it's always close. It's
Right.
always, there's some luck that goes their way. Jalen Hurts has been playing very well up to now. I believe he's second in the MVP leaderboard right now,
Which
behind
he should
Brock
be
Purdy.
lower, honestly.
Yeah, you think so?
I think after this game and what Dak did Thursday, Dak is above him.
Okay.
And-
You're not
and-
going to hear any complaints from me.
And another thing with this game, right, like Max, you just said, like, they never put the bad teams away. They let the Patriots hang in there. They let the Jets beat them when they should have honestly beaten the Jets.
Hmm.
And so it's like you look at this Eagles team. Yeah, they're good. They're a nice team, but it's like they could never really put it together. Like the Niners did against them, or like the Cowboys have, or like the Chiefs have in the past, or honestly like the Ravens have. Like all those teams are above them.
Yeah, it's
in
the
the
slow
NFL.
starts.
Yeah.
I think like last season, I remember they would just make a statement right at the
Right.
beginning of the game in the first two quarters. But now, they're kind of just. It feels like they warm up, and then all of a sudden, you're behind a couple of scores, and now you got to work really hard to get back into the game. And this game was really, really ugly. I love the trash talk, though. I love the jawing back and forth between the teams. And coming into the game, too, we know there's some bad blood
Mhm.
between Debo and James Bradbury. And, man, I think stuff like this, hopefully this turns into a rivalry long term because it's really good for the game. These are two teams that will see each other most likely in the playoffs. Whether that will be in San Francisco or Philadelphia, we'll wait to see. But looking at the NFC right now, the Eagles still hold the first spot because they have they're one game ahead of the Niners right now.
Yeah.
But looking at the Eagles' remaining schedule,
It's tough.
you think so?
Actually.
No,
Not really.
Okay.
Not
No,
quite.
okay.
They do have a tough game against Dallas, in Dallas, where the Cowboys haven't lost yet this season. So that's going to be a really great game. If the Eagles come away with that, they should have a pretty smooth ride. You play the
Yeah.
Seahawks, you play the Giants twice, and the Cardinals. So I could definitely, even though the Eagles, this was a really bad loss for them, just in terms of how we see the team, they could still definitely wrap up that number one seed.
If they don't go 3-0 in those last 3 weeks, that's a telling sign.
Yeah.
Which they easily should. And they should
Yeah.
easily beat those teams by a lot.
I think I don't know. If I was an Eagles fan, I'd be pretty concerned about their form going into the Dallas game. Because last time they played, sorry about that. The last time they played, they only won because like Dak's toe was slightly out of bounds in the 2-point conversion. Or was that 2-point conversion, or was it him getting into the end zone, or was it a regular touchdown?
I think the 2-point conversion was when Schoonmaker was like a half a yard short of the goal line.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And the Eagles were at home then, and now they have to go to Dallas, and Dallas hasn't lost at home all year, and Dallas is in pretty good form right now. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be excited for that game as well. That's going to be very telling.
Sunday night prime time. Who's favored in that game?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I'm going to assume the Cowboys.
I haven't looked at the odds, but I don't know. I think that's going to be a good one. And if the Eagles, that's going to be a huge test for them. Let's see if they've really got that championship mentality.
Yeah, this is going to be because the Cowboys have been really good, especially defensively at home. Last week, not so much against the Seahawks. But if that is a fluke, and this is a low scoring, kind of grinded out, ugly, maybe division game. With the way that Dak is playing right now, I mean, it's hard for me to not pick the Cowboys. I think, in that game in Philadelphia said a lot about these two teams. And don't get me wrong, like the Eagles played really well, but they definitely got lucky in some areas of the game.
If the Eagles lose this game, then that'll really be like the red flag situation for them, where it's like, yeah, this team isn't what everyone thought it would be at the start of the season. You know, they're not, like you said, they're not steamrolling game, but they're just putting wins together, which is all nice. But it's like they're not at that level of a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
And I never honestly saw them at that level either.
I'm predicting Dallas wins that game.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. As far as the Niners, Brock Purdy, he's now the leading, the leading odds to win MVP this season, which is pretty shocking. But
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
he's not going to win MVP.
I don't think so. Look, his stat line was great yesterday. 19 for 27, 314 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 148.8 passer rating. Great stats. He's always going to have great stats, but I think it's the players around him that make him so good. I don't want to call him like a system quarterback, but it really does feel like it's mostly Kyle Shanahan and McCaffrey and Debo that like elevate his play, the yards after catch, all that stuff.
He's got
exactly. He is a system quarterback because he's learned how to play with those guys, and he has so many weapons around him that it's like it doesn't put a lot of pressure on him specifically.
Yeah, and with this team healthy, it's really tough for me to pick any other NFC team.
Yeah.
And he's got probably the best. I don't know. This might be the greatest supporting cast in the history of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is really insane. This offense, man, it's like a Ferrari.
CMC, Debo, Kittle, like, it's crazy. Ayuk, like,
yeah, even
insane.
Ayuk's not. And then the Jennings isn't bad either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 49ers remaining schedule. They play the Seahawks. They play the Cardinals. They play the Ravens, which will be a good game.
That's going to be a great one.
Commanders and then Rams. I'd say the Eagles' schedule is quite a bit easier than that.
Significantly.
Yeah.
It's easier than the Niners, but
we might see a very similar situation that plays out last season, where the Eagles take that number 1 seed, and then we see a rematch in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel really confident in the Niners right now, as Niners fans should. And as far as the Eagles, all our questions are really going to be answered in next week's game.
I'm really excited for that. The 49ers Ravens game. I just think I really want to see the Niners offense up against that Baltimore defense. And if Mike McDonald and the Ravens can't come up with a way to stop that offense, then I don't know if anyone can.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, I don't know. I've been singing their praises all year long on this show, and yeah, I don't know if they can't game plan for this offense. I don't think anyone can.
Mm-hmm.
They're just that good.
All right. Anything you guys want to touch on more about 49ers Eagles?
no, I think we're good.
Yeah,
All
not
right.
really.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. We have a fun little segment prepared for you guys. It's the holiday season, Are you guys listening to Christmas music yet?
A little bit.
My parents
I
have been
do.
playing it a lot.
Honestly, if I have to, I don't really play it to listen to it out of enjoyment.
All right.
But if it's on, yeah.
You got your tree up?
No, not
Decorations?
yet. Not yet.
All right, well,
It's a little bit early.
Well, Max, I'll have to admit to all listeners, I'm all out on Christmas music. So ever since before Thanksgiving, I'm in the Christmas world. So
Right on.
my tree has been up since November 1st.
November
wow.
1st.
Yes.
Is
Oh,
it a
wow.
real tree?
No, it's not a real tree.
Okay, yeah, because if it was real, it would probably be dead pretty soon.
Well,
Yeah,
true. All right.
Well, that's awesome. Hey,
Yeah,
Frank's in a winter wonderland.
yeah, no,
mentally.
that's good. That's
For a
good.
while.
We love the Christmas spirit over here. And so, to celebrate it, we put together this segment, what each NFL team wants for Christmas. A little present for them. We're going to start with the AFC this week, and we're going to make our way through the divisions, starting with the AFC East. So, at top of the division right now is the Dolphins, 9-3. What did you guys say the Dolphins need for Christmas?
Just a statement victory against a good team. I'm looking at their schedule. If they win any 3 of their last games, I think that would be a pretty big accomplishment. They play the Cowboys December 24th. They play the Ravens on the 31st. And they play the Bills on January 7th. I think if they manage to beat one of those teams, they'll be it'll be a Merry Christmas in Miami.
I agree. I said the same thing. A win against a good team. They haven't beat a team with a record over 500 currently this entire season. I think maybe their most impressive win would be against the Broncos, who they dropped 70 on, and the Broncos don't appear to be horrible right now. But yeah, a tough schedule for them. But if they take 2 out of those 3 games, then I would absolutely have a lot more faith in the team. What about you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the same thing. I just feel like this team is good, but they need to prove themselves against the big guns for people to come playoff time to be able to take them seriously. Because if you're not able to do that, then it's like, oh yeah, you're a good regular season team, but you can't make it come playoffs.
I mean, if they can beat the Ravens and then beat like the Cowboys or something, they could clinch home field advantage maybe. Right now they're at 9-3. They're tied with the Ravens for the best record in the AFC.
Yeah.
So
Chiefs are slipping a bit. I think it's wide open.
Remember when we all said the Bills were going to win the division?
Speaking of the Bills, let's move on to them next.
Oh God.
Bills are 6-6 right now.
Oh boy.
You could kind of go in any direction. They need a lot of different gifts. They're kind of low on the Christmas cheer right now.
Yeah.
But I said for Christmas they really would like a head coach. I'm not gonna, really slam on Josh Allen because I liked how he performed against the Eagles. Yes, he's been inconsistent, really ever since Brian Daboll was left. But I think a change in head coach, maybe a change of voice in that locker room, could do a lot for this team.
For me, for this team, I'm kind of trying to pick between a couple wins away from home or a run game, or a better run game, I should say. I think a better run game would take some of the weight off of Josh Allen's shoulders and also would extend his NFL career quite a bit. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of scared he's going to have kind of the Cam Newton situation where his body just gets run into the ground. But other than that, just a nice away win. Or a couple of away wins because their away record is horrible. They are 1-4 away from Buffalo, and that is stinky.
And for me, for the Bills, I just feel like they need consistency on offense. It just feels like it's a little too scrambled, and I feel like Josh Allen likes that go-to of him to Kincaid, but that could only get you so far. I feel like it's either to Diggs or James Cook or Murray, and it feels like it's just. It's not consistent with what they do on offense. I just feel like sometimes they scramble a little too much of who they want to go to and where they want to find.
Okay. Moving on, we have the New York Jets, everyone's favorite team to talk about this season. 4-8 on the season. I said for Christmas they want the season to be over because it's really like watching this quarterback carousel between Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, and Zach Wilson. Is just ugly, and I'm not even a Jets fan, but it's just really it's sad to see such a talented team around those quarterbacks just kind of suffer because of the quarterback play. I get every week we're getting Aaron Rodgers news and teases, but I think it's time for them to just kind of call it quits.
In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers just wants attention. He was never going to come back. He's not going to come back. It's over, honestly, for him this season. Just don't even bother. You're 4-8. You looked pathetic yesterday against the Falcons. You could only score 8 points. This team is it's all over the place. And I just can't because I feel so bad because this team was built perfectly around Aaron Rodgers. And other than Rodgers, you have no real good quarterback. And now next week you're going to go back to Zach Wilson?
I saw a stat that said they have more first quarter safeties than they have first quarter touchdowns.
Yeah, they scored a safety to start the game yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's all this team could do. They just need, like you said, Max, they need the season to be over, and they need Aaron Rodgers back.
Would you agree?
I would certainly agree with that. For me personally, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something funny to say. I don't know, a bunch of ivermectin to heal Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Science.
Yeah, exactly. Some holistic medicine for Mr. Rogers over there.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah, so some ayahuasca and a nice dark room for
Another
Aaron
dark
Rodgers.
retreat.
Also, I would also add that. Sorry, maybe this is two things, but definitely send him on another darkness retreat so you can send all of his friends that he forced the Jets to sign home. You know, Adam Lazard and Randall Cobb and them guys over there. Oh yeah, and who's the quarterback? Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Yeah,
Tim
Tim
Boyle.
Boyle was literally, I don't know, literally just there to be Aaron Rodgers' friend. He's just a good vibe.
Yeah.
That's the only reason
He
he's
seems
there.
like a nice guy. It's just, it's not working.
All right. Let's move on to the Patriots real quick. What a fall from grace.
Oh, yeah.
2-10 on the season. They need a lot for Christmas. But I think the most important present would probably be a quarterback. Mac Jones has had a rough season. A lot of it is his fault. A lot of it is not his fault. You know, he's not out there. You know, it's not the 2008 Patriots out there. But I think now you have the high draft pick. There's going to be a quarterback there. I think you just take it. You know, whether it's Drake May or whoever.
Honestly,
I think it's time.
For the Pats, you're hoping for the second pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I put, honestly. I was like, they're hoping for the second pick, and obviously you have to take a quarterback. Because if you don't take a quarterback, no matter if you drive a wide receiver or running back, doesn't matter. If you don't have a good quarterback, this team is not going anywhere. Because Mac Jones has really tanked the potential of this team. Not that this team is good to begin with, but I feel like Mac Jones really took a step back from what he was a few years ago, and it's just not going to work for him.
Would you agree? Quarterback?
Well, I was going to say an amicable divorce of Belichick and the Patriots.
Okay.
Because the more this drags on, the uglier it's going to get. And I was torn between that and saying get Belichick to the record-breaking win, just so they can both kind of walk away and say, hey, thanks
After
for
that.
everything. But yeah, no, it's like I've been saying for the past few weeks, the longer you keep Belichick, the longer it's going to be before you can be relevant ever again.
Yeah. You got to move on, and they'll do it like a mutual part. They'll state it as a mutual parting of the ways, but it's time for Belichick to go.
Yeah. And, you know, it might not feel like it, but I think a season like this is actually good for the team long term because now you're like, okay, we absolutely need to rebuild, you know?
Yep.
Because going into the season, they didn't expect to play like this. They
No.
expected to be better than 2-10.
No, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, AFC West. We got the Chiefs at 8-4 atop the division. I said for Christmas they want some wide receivers with hands.
Yep.
Because drops has been a massive issue for them. It's weird. We didn't see them miss, Tyreek Hill that bad last season. It didn't seem to really impact Patrick Mahomes' play at all. He was still able to be really productive with McCole Harbin and Juju and all those guys there.
MVP.
McKinnon, yeah. But now we're really starting to see it. Where Kelsey is not the only. They have Pacheco. They have. I think the kid Rice is going to be really good.
Rashid Rice, Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice, but you need someone better. And Kelsey's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still good, but you could tell he's starting to be on the decline as a player.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Receivers?
I was trying to think of something different, but yeah, someone I don't know if they had the ability to go back and sign D Hop or something like that. I think I don't know, or maybe not even maybe not even that much money, man. Just just the ability to have some new wide receivers. They don't need to be superstars, man. They just need to be aight, and the Chiefs would probably win the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I do worry about this offense long term. I feel like when the opposition's defense has been able to take away one of Kelsey or Pacheco and deal with the other one, then this offense just kind of falls flat. Unless Patrick Mahomes totally pulls a rabbit out of the hat, which he does very regularly. But I don't know if you want to always count on him to just be that amazing every single week.
It's an incredibly talented quarterback with a very limited offense, and it sucks too because their defense is played a lot better this year than when they won the Super Bowl.
Even Mahomes said he's this is the best defense I've ever played with.
Yeah.
So the defense took a step up and the offense took a slight step back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of they kind of cancel each other out eventually. So it's this team, they need some new wide receivers, and they need to start realizing with Kelsey, not that the clock is ticking, but it's the start of the decline of him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but he's going to be on Watch pretty soon. I don't know. It's just there's only so much he can take, you know. He gets hit a lot. He's asked to do a lot. Lots of targets, lots of carries, lots of runs. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, let's move on to the Broncos. 6-6 on the season, having a really interesting year. You know,
Yeah.
you win it's a slow start, then you win 5 straight. Yesterday, a pretty difficult loss to the Texans.
Yeah. A hard fought loss. It wasn't like they
Yeah,
didn't get completely shut out, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I think for Christmas, they would really value Russell Wilson's mobility. It's not all the way back, but you certainly saw flashes of it,
Yeah.
of him using his legs very effectively during that win streak. And you know what? I think if you can, it's a lot to ask because obviously he's older. He's not the same
Yeah.
player that he was with the Seahawks. But if you can kind of string together, like kind of bottle what you did during that win streak and continue to play that kind of effective, you know, very tough defense. Cortland Sutton was great. You know, they ran the ball quite well. We'll see what happens with the Broncos. I mean, what do you guys think?
I was gonna say a way out of this Russell Wilson contract because they're
Ooh,
paying him
Okay.
a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
For like, I know they're definitely. I'm looking at some breakdowns right now. I know that they're most certainly on the hook for the next 2 seasons after this.
Mm.
Which, you know, and like this kind of ties into what you were saying, Max. I mean, he's not to say that his game was just based on his athleticism, but it was a big part of it. A big part of his game was, you know, being able to hang in there in the pocket and avoid the rush and, you know, pick out a receiver.
Yeah.
And he can't do that anymore. And, you know, by the time he hits free agency, he's going to be 41.
Mm.
He is 35 now.
Yeah.
So there is a potential out, I think, in 2026, though.
Which is
Did
3
you
years
take it
away.
then?
Yeah.
Because it just feels like, okay, here's what it is with the Broncos, right?
According
They're-
to sporttrack.com.
They're good, but there's a ceiling with this team.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and Russell Wilson is that ceiling. And I'm not saying Russell Wilson's going to hold back the team, but Russell Wilson can only do so much.
Mm.
He's playing better, but he can't take them to the next level, no matter how the rest of this team is. And I feel like Oscar said, you're kind of not stuck with him, but you're kind of like in this contract where you can't really move him right now. So you just are where you are. And I just feel like the Broncos, they're good, but I just feel like there's only so much they could do.
Okay. All right, let's move on to an interesting one. We got the Chargers, 5-7 on the season. You could also go in a lot of different directions with this one. I'm probably just going to pick the most obvious one, which is head coach. Brandon Staley has proven now that he is not the right coach for this team. Justin Herbert, obviously a lot of talent there, but yesterday you put up 6 points against the Patriots. Horrible. It's a horrible
it was
performance.
2 field goals. It wasn't even a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Everyone
Oh,
who went
man.
to that game should get their money back.
honestly, and you can't. That just can't be the case. And even if you're playing like a really great team, which you weren't, that can never be the case when you have Justin Herbert, you know, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler. But I think a new head coach, maybe you see what I'm blanking on his name. What's their offensive coordinator? Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore.
yes.
Maybe
Okay.
you see if he could take the role. But honestly, man, there are a lot needs to be done for this Chargers team.
Here's what the Chargers need is a routine to retool their team,
Mhm.
because these pieces just don't fit together. Eckler, great player. Keenan Allen, great player. Justin Herbert, really good quarterback. They have Joshua Palmer. They have other pieces. They have Joshua Kelly, but it's like this team does not fit together.
Mhm.
That's what it is to me, and I don't think it's ever gonna really mesh. Yes, you need a new head coach, but I also feel like on top of that, you're gonna need to reconstruct what this team is, because as of right now, even with the new head coach, it's not gonna be able to compete with the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm gonna go for a new GM because I don't know because I don't want to go back over what you guys just said. Though I agree with it. I don't know. This is terrible. This is just malpractice. How they're just wasting Justin Herbert's rookie contract, and I don't know, hopefully not his career, but like it's not looking great right now. The moves they've just been making is terrible. What's his name? Quentin Johnson, right? That's the name. That was their
Johnson.
first round pick. Oh my God. Good Lord, he is not good at playing football. I don't know. He looks like a big fat bust already.
Yeah.
Could have had Zay Flowers. Could have had Tank. And those are just like, wait, was Tank last year's draft? He's a rookie this year, right?
Yeah, he's a rookie. He's last year.
I don't know. Those are just the two guys I can think of off the top of my head.
To be fair, no one expected Tank Dale to be this good.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
but hey,
so-
but you know, GMs get paid a lot of money to
True.
look into the future. So yeah, I'd just say just reset, man. Fire the GM, fire the coaches. Justin Herbert deserves better, man. It's breaking my heart to see this, man. It really is.
It's just not clicking.
Let's quickly do the Raiders. 5-7. It's the same record as the Chargers. 5-7 on the season. I said for Christmas they don't want any more drama. I think that's the right pick here because, I mean you have had first there was like the Henry Ruggs and then you had the coaching issues.
And Devontae's unhappy.
Devontae's unhappy. You know, and this year you have different kind of coaching issues. It all was going well for them when they were kind of, focused on football, when they were motivated by their new interim head coach. I think no more drama is what the Raiders are looking for Christmas. You guys agree?
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course. I would say, Sean, did you want to go?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
For me, Raiders, what the Raiders need for Christmas to go home. They go back to Oakland, man. What the hell is this? Sorry, I don't know if
You
I'm
don't
allowed
like
to say it.
the Vegas
No, I hate it, man.
Allegiant Stadium?
No, man, it's garbage, man. Pack that stuff up, man. Every time I tune into a Raiders game, which is not often because I don't know, if my option is I love the sport of football. I love watching a football game, but if the Raiders are playing and and they're not playing a team I like, then you know what? I go out and I get some fresh air. I see nature, I see my friends, my loved ones. I'm not letting the NFL take those 3 hours of my life away.
That's a good priority. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that everything. I mean, look, this franchise has been managed pretty poorly for a long time now, but I just think that that team is just so synonymous with Oakland. That's where they belong. Like playing the Raiders, even when they were bad, like when you played away to the Raiders, it was like, damn, this is going to be a tough game. I'm going to have all those crazy Raiders fans screaming at me. This is not going to be fun. It's going to be like getting a root canal. Nobody cares about going to no Vegas, man. They just come like, oh, this is awesome. We're gonna kick their butt, and then we're gonna go play blackjack afterwards. No one's scared of going to Vegas, man.
The only relation that sports has to Vegas is sports betting.
Exactly.
No one cares about the Raiders. Do you guys want to move on to the AFC North?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, one more thing about the Raiders. I will give them credit. Moving off of Derek Carr seemed like the right option now.
Yeah.
Looking back,
it was time to go.
Yeah. So AFC North. Let's start with the Ravens. 9-3 on the season. I said for what they want for Christmas, I said an intact fibula for Mark Andrews.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Kind of.
I was gonna say a similar thing.
Yeah. I think him being gone really hurts their odds in the AFC right now. You saw how their passing attack really wasn't quite the same in last week. Let's get your thoughts on it.
Yeah. I was going to say something similar, but now I'm going to say just the ability to close. Just closing out these games. There's a very strong argument that I think the Ravens should, if they didn't poop their pants, they should be undefeated. The teams that they lost to, they really had no business losing to.
Yeah. They lose to the Colts.
The Colts, the Steelers, and crap, what was the last one?
The Buccaneers.
Was it
Wait,
the
really?
No.
The Browns. The Browns.
The Browns.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
And though they lost those games simply because they couldn't close it out. Either the offense just started getting silly and being like, let's make this interesting. Let's lose the game. Or the defense just does something really uncharacteristically silly. Just the ability to close, man, because if they could close out these teams, they would be 12-0, and I will stand on that. I mean, which means nothing because it's the world of make believe.
But Oscar also
Yes.
like the inability to close, right, could come back to bite you in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because if you're not able to close in one playoff game, your season is done. So I feel like these next few weeks, they got the Rams coming up. That should be an easy win.
Yeah, they've
Right
got
there, easy win.
they've got some tough games to close out the season.
they do.
Rams,
But they beat the
Jaguars,
Niners.
Niners, Dolphins, and Steelers, who are a good team.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So-
and then it's a division. Those
That's a
divisional
bit-
games, they know how to play you. They get up for
tic-tac,
those
yeah,
games.
it's a low-scoring game. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Sean. I mean, look, is there I can't really decide. I'm like, does this team just not respect their bad opponents sometimes and just get too cocky? Like, if
Which
that's
happens to teams.
it happens sometimes. If that's the case, maybe they will step up and be really good against the actual playoff caliber teams. I'm not entirely sure,
All right.
but we're gonna see.
Yeah, let's go on to the Steelers.
Yeah, let's go move on to the Steelers. 7-5 on the season, having a lot better one than I think a lot of us imagined.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett going down yesterday definitely does hurt their odds
Yeah.
moving forward. But I said for Christmas, all they want is some offense.
Yeah, because this defense is really good.
It's really good. One of the
Yeah.
best red zone defenses in the NFL right now. Mike Tomlin, obviously an incredible coach. But the consistency on the offense is the issue right now. After Matt Canada was fired, they had a week where they ran the ball really effectively. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren are great backs. This past week, they really struggled though. So if we get to at least a little bit more consistency on the offensive side of the ball, we'll see the Steelers have a Merry Christmas for sure.
And it just feels like with the Steelers team, like there's no consistent player that's the go-to on offense, right?
Yeah.
It just feels like, these are these couple of guys that we trust, but game in, game out, like we don't really trust specifically one type of person. And I feel like that's what they need to figure out. Who on their offensive line can they trust to carry them through runs? But this defense is excellent.
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry. So, what do the Steelers? I don't know. At first I was gonna say steroids for Kenny Pickett so he can, get rid of his baby arm and his tiny little hands. but
God damn.
but I was like, maybe that's a little bit mean. And that's the case then for the Steelers. I would say a way to escape the QB purgatory because that's where they're going to be for the next few years now. Like, hey, Mike Tomlin, I've said it. I think we've all said it on the
Yes,
show.
yes.
He's my coach of the year. I think.
Mm.
Just I don't know.
Okay.
Just
I
being
would
able
go
to
with
do all
Shane
of it.
Steichen for the Colts.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
same.
not mad at that.
Yeah.
But
But
it depends, honestly.
Like, it's just like the Steelers team, if it finishes above the Browns, and I don't know, I guess the Bengals, they missed Joe Burrow, so maybe that doesn't really count. But, like, I don't know, I think he's doing a tremendous job. But here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like what the problem with the Jets, where they're not going to be good enough to compete for the Super Bowl, but they're not going to be bad enough to get a really good rookie quarterback.
To be fair, the Jets were expected to. And then that
Right,
one
right.
guy went down. So
Right. But that's kind of where they have been for
Yeah.
the last few years now, before
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers,
All right, let's finish up this division real quick.
Yeah.
We got the
Let's speed run
Browns.
through this.
Browns at 7-5. They're having their own quarterback issues right
Yeah.
now. But besides that, I think what they would want for Christmas is a Myles Garrett Defensive Player of the Year award.
Which he's in line to get. Honestly.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, yeah, he's so good, man.
What do you guys think about the Browns?
In my opinion, what they want for Christmas is a way to escape the nasty man's contract. I think that the Deshaun Watson contract, it's been a PR disaster.
Oh, yeah.
And on the field, it's been an absolute disaster, too. He's been bad. And I will make fun of him because I don't feel bad.
He had that one good game where he went 14-14 in the second half right before he got hurt.
Yeah.
But then other than that, yeah, it's like this they need to get away from Deshaun Watson because he's not a good quarterback, and for obviously, like you said, Oscar, PR reasons, because that criminal should not be on an NFL team.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sean.
That contract was kind of a shot in the dark. You really didn't know how he was going to play coming back.
Yeah.
Well, I think they all just assumed they're like, all right, everyone's gonna hate us, but we're gonna give them the finger and say, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl because, I mean, if Texans, Deshaun Watson showed up. This is a Super Bowl contender,
Yeah,
probably.
absolutely.
Like
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
defense is monstrous, and they've got weapons in attack, even without Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
He had that horrific injury. But yeah, I'd say that's what they want for Christmas, just a way to get away from the nasty man. But it's not going to happen.
All right, and then Bengals 5-6 on the season. They play tonight. Will probably end up losing to the Jaguars. I said for Christmas they want the season to be over as well.
Yeah, because I just look at that team and it's like Jamar Chase is great.
There's no magic to it without
There's no
Burrow.
there's no magic. It's that connection, and T. Higgins also. It's not the same without Joe Burrow. That's what it is. It just doesn't feel the same without Joe Burrow there. That they have a great offense, good defense, but it's like Joe Burrow is the guy that made the machine run, and without him, you're not the same team.
Yeah, I think that those coaches ask Burrow to do way too much when he's healthy. So when he gets injured, they're kind of sitting there on their behinds, Yeah, I guess I agree with Max. Just season to be. Oh, actually, another Jamar Chase. What the Bengals want for Christmas is another Jamar Chase type situation, whereas they do really bad for the rest of the year and they get a high draft pick, and then Joe Burrow comes back and they go to the Super Bowl. That's what happened with Jamar Chase, 'cause, Burrow got injured and they were really bad for the rest of the year, so they were able to get a high draft pick and get Jamar Chase. And hey, I don't think they really care that they were bad that season because it's worked out for them since. I think they want the same thing to happen again.
Sometimes losing is just what your franchise needs,
Yeah.
All right, this has been fun so far. Let's wrap it up with the AFC South. We got the Jaguars in first, 8-3 record on the season. I said, this team has played really well, but I think to be better, for Christmas, they would want some consistency out of Calvin Ridley, because we've seen when he's extremely productive on the field, they look actually like a championship caliber team.
Yeah, it's
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's just like the Jaguars, right? They have a nice record, 8-3.
Mhm.
They just don't feel like that team. Watching them, they don't feel like an 8-3 team. But they
What do
are.
you mean?
Like, I don't feel like they're as good as the other 8. Like they're not as good as the Dolphins, right?
Okay.
Who are 9
Inflated record.
Yeah, I just feel like it's an inflated record, and they just need to find consistency here going into the playoffs. They should win tonight, to be honest. And I feel like this team will be fine. They just need to find a way to look legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for the Jaguars, I'm not gonna lie, I did not put a lot of work into the AFC South, but
I get it.
for the Jaguars, I'd say just more weapons. I guess this is kind of similar to what you said, Max, but kind of just better weapons for Trevor Lawrence. I think this season he's been, for the most part, a top 5 quarterback, especially since Joe Burrow's been injured.
Mhm.
I think he's been great. I think he's going to continue to be really good. I don't know. At first, I wasn't really sure what to make of Trevor Lawrence, but I think he proved that he managed to survive that atrocious year under Urban Meyer. So he's impressive.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Trevor Lawrence. I think it's really rare to see a quarterback that large move the way he does.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the Colts. 7-5 season.
Surprising.
Yeah, they've played very, very well, and it's, like you said, very surprising. Losing Anthony Richardson for the year, I think we all thought, all right, they're done. But someone has played really well on this team, and for Christmas, they're going to ask him to play even better. I've said continue the Minshew mania, because I think Gardner Minshew is probably the best backup in the league.
Mm-hmm. By far.
And he has taken this offense, and they are playing really well, man. Whether it's Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, like they move the ball very effectively. I really like their head coach. Let's continue that Minshew mania.
Continue the Minshew mania, and also hopefully next season Anthony Richardson's good to go. Because I feel like as good as Minshew is, with Anthony Richardson's potential, he could take them to the next level.
Yeah.
And I feel like this offense is really good, and if Anthony Richardson comes back healthy, starts off playing well, this team is going to be in good position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of adding on to what Sean said, I think that what the Colts would like is, what they want for Christmas is, or what they should want for Christmas is coaches that are going to develop Anthony Richardson well. I think the that guy's got so much potential. He's got all of the tools. And I don't know. Growing up, we just kind of heard the myth. Oh, you can't teach accuracy. You can't do that. But then Josh Allen came along, and he was straight up a bad quarterback his first season. And then they taught him they fixed his mechanics, and he became much more accurate with the ball. And I see no reason why Anthony Richardson can't do that with the right coaching. Because the biggest reason I give is he played his college football in the SEC, which is by far the best college football conference, and Josh Allen played for Wyoming, and so I think that there's no reason why Richardson can't take that step up.
Okay, good point. Let's move on to the Texans, who have been another fantastic story this season. 7-5. Stroud is looking like an MVP, and I think for Christmas, they're going to need him to continue playing at that level, especially now with Tank Dell gone for the rest of the season. Look, they are in position to make the playoffs right now. With their defense is playing outstanding. Derek Stingley Jr. in that secondary was great yesterday. Same with Will Anderson Jr., their young, talented edge.
I think this team's going to be fine.
Yeah. It's a very young, talented team with a great head coach, who were supposed to be rebuilding this year, and now, like I said, are in position to make the playoffs.
Because you kind of said hope that C.J. Stroud stays on this trajectory for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had the same thing, but I put it in a way. It's like have C.J. Stroud continue on this trajectory for years to come. Because if C.J. Stroud can, this team could be competitive for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they get some nice other pieces, get Tank Dell obviously back healthy, probably next year. I think he's probably done for the year.
Yeah,
and this team will be fine as long as C.J. Stroud can continue the way he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say just I'd say Texans fans want a playoff berth. They haven't been to playoffs in a while, and I think that would be just a really positive bit of experience for C.J. Stroud. I think it would kind of put the rest of the league on notice that, hey, maybe free agents and stuff would be like, hey, maybe I can go to Houston, have some amazing barbecue, go, to the food trucks and play with this really good young quarterback.
Yeah, Houston's not a bad city.
I've never been, but it's a major city. It's a big city. I've heard the food is great. That's what really makes me want to go. Lots of really good Mexican food, lots of good barbecue.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish it out with the Titans. 4-8 on the season. I think for Christmas, the Titans need time. Will Levis has looked, very talented. He's shown you a lot of sparks.
He's shown flashes.
Yeah.
But it's not consistent, which we're not expecting it to.
Yeah, no. So time, more reps. We love their head coach. Obviously, we love Derek Henry. We'll see what happens with him. But you know what? This is a rebuilding team, and I'm glad that they have moved on from Tannehill to Levis to kind of see what they have in the young rookie. Yeah,
I kind of feel bad for Malik Willis, though. I feel like he never got a fair shot at being the starting QB.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. But whatever. It's a cruel league.
It is.
So for the Titans, I think what they want for Christmas is the best possible return for Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins when they trade them. Because, I think that's what you got to do. Those guys are on contracts that you can't have on a team that so obviously needs a rebuild. Like, they can't even be competitive in this AFC South, which is... there's been surprising teams here this year, but, come on now.
And you're going to get a lot back from him,
I think so.
Derrick Henry, Hopkins, Jeffrey Simmons, those guys have a lot of value.
Henry was really good yesterday, but he just hasn't been consistent for the whole year. So I feel like, you got to move on from him. You could get good value for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know the Ravens were trying to get him on trade deadline day, which would be
insane.
That would have been insane. Yeah. But no, I think what you got to do with the Titans, just trade those guys. Get as many draft picks as you can for them. First rounders, second rounders, third rounders, whatever. Just, that's what you need to stockpile those picks and just, choose wisely.
It's crazy that this team was the number one seed in the AFC just a handful of years ago.
Yeah, it's nuts.
All right. For these final 10 minutes, let's transition over to the NBA. We
Yes,
got
sir. Yes, sir.
NBA in-season tournament quarterfinals tonight. 2 games. It is between the Boston Celtics, Indiana Pacers, and we got the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Sacramento Kings. 2 games tonight, I think, will be pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd say, first of all, how do you guys picture like these quarterfinals and kind of this like championship bracket playing out? Do you guys think it's going to have that like playoff type atmosphere?
I think so, yeah, because the to be honest, the group stage kind of felt like close, especially those last few nights. Like I remember last Tuesday was really good, where it's like all these other teams are trying to win by as many points as possible and focusing on what other teams are doing in their group. So it makes it competitive, and I think teams are going to care. And a team like, for example, the Pacers, who play tonight, right? You don't see them as a championship team, but if they're able to win this tournament, that's going to be big for them.
Might
So
change, yeah.
so it's like, I feel like teams are going to care. They want to win because even though it's not the championship, it's still something that matters. And it's for a team to make a statement. So I feel like all teams are going to care whether they play tonight or tomorrow. I feel like this is going to be a highly invested basketball.
All right, let's make our picks. So tonight, Celtics, Pacers. Porzingis is out. It's in Indiana.
Mhm.
Do you guys see Pacers upsetting the Celtics here or no?
I can't.
No?
I
No.
mean,
I
I kind of can if the Pacers are just red hot in terms of scoring. And I know Halliburton's a game time decision, but he's 100% going to play.
Okay.
I just feel like the Celtics are just too much from a talent standpoint, even without Porzingis.
Okay.
Because without Porzingis in the lineup, Horford has played really well. Drew Holiday's playing well. Tatum is playing at an MVP level. Jaylen Brown has really responded well from a slow start to the season. So I feel like the Celtics have the momentum. I predict that the Celtics were going to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Pacers win.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot for them to handle.
Yeah, the Pacers have been pleasantly surprising, but
Yeah.
it would come down to the Celtics being. I think the Celtics would have to lose this game if rather than the Pacers winning.
Yeah. The
underperform
Pacers
a
have a
little bit.
a really nice young core to build on here.
Yeah,
Honestly.
they've been one of the
Yeah.
most pleasant surprises of the season, I think.
Halliburton's spectacular.
All right, and then the second game for tonight's slate, the Pelicans versus the Kings. It's in Sacramento. We always know, you talked about
Yeah.
it before the show. The crowd brings it. It's a great
Best
atmosphere.
best home court advantage in the league.
Could be. It could be.
Sacramento,
Yeah.
honestly.
Really? Huh.
These fans are loud.
So you guys probably agree with me that Sacramento is going to take this game tonight.
I think Sacramento's going to take this game tonight. I feel like Fox is going to continue his hot streak since he came back of being really good. The one thing I'm interested with Sacramento is how they guard Zion.
guarding Zion.
Because I don't feel like Sabonis is the center for the Kings, but I don't feel like Sabonis could really stop Zion from just getting to the basket. And around the paint, in the paint area, Zion's shooting at a 67% clip,
Okay.
which is spectacular. So I feel like they really need to find a way to shut Zion down, stop him from scoring, or at least stop from getting into the paint easily.
Yeah.
That'll be the really interesting part, but I do see the Kings winning because I feel like they're just the more talented team here.
I don't know. Just to be controversial, I'm gonna say that the Pelicans win. Just
They-
because I don't know.
could.
I like the Pelicans. I like when they're healthy. I like this team. I think Zion. He could just come to life and really put the team on his back. There's shooters around him. There's guys on the
Yeah.
perimeter that can hurt you.
They're getting McCollum back tonight. I expect McCollum to be on the minutes restriction, but he's back, so this team's now healthy. So we'll see.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter this morning. I didn't know if that was actually true, but
Yeah, he's back.
Okay,
Yep.
well,
Yeah.
that's a huge boost then.
All right, then let's do the 2 other games tomorrow night. We got the Knicks against the Bucks, and then we got the Suns against the Lakers. I'm excited for these games.
Oh, yeah.
I think these are going to be a lot closer than tonight.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of feel like the Knicks might.
The Knicks are going to win.
Yeah, I think
They're going to win.
I think they probably match up with the Bucks not playing like their best basketball right now. I think they match up pretty well with them.
The Bucks, not that they've looked terrible, but it's just like they're not. They're winning games. They're just winning games against the Pistons and the Trailblazers. Like, why? So I feel like the Knicks are going to win this game. They're going to be motivated to win this game, and I feel like a lot of times what I feel like happens with the Bucks, it feels like they're slow to get going, right? It feels like, especially Dame, it takes them a while to get going in the game, and their defense is shot without Drew Holiday, and they still haven't solved that. So I feel like the Knicks are going to win this game.
Any
Me
thoughts on this one?
personally, I don't know. Our listeners might not like it very much, but I don't know. I still think the Bucks are going to win. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see how much these players actually care about the knockout rounds that much. But like,
They will.
yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think so.
They
I've-
cared about the group stage. They'll definitely care about the knockout rounds.
I've been really pleasantly surprised with how much effort the
Yeah.
players give it.
It's been a success for the NBA, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. I still think the Knicks as a franchise and even the players on their team, I still see a bunch of chokers. And on the Bucks, I see
I disagree with that. but
I see guys who can step it up.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. I just don't trust this Bucks team because it's like, Giannis, Lillard, great. Lopez has been really good to start the season, but even he's starting to slow down now. Bobby Portis, you don't know what you get from him, and who's on that bench? Jay Crowder, cool. I guess I just don't trust this team.
I've just seen the likes of Lopez, the likes of Giannis, the likes of Dame. I've seen them turn it on when it matters.
Yeah, of course.
And the likes of R.J. Barrett, the likes of Julius Randle, Brunson. I've seen them, just totally.
Well, I disagree with you saying that for Brunson, but for Randall and Barrett,
Maybe I'm being a little bit
Brunson's
harsh on
great.
Brunson, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they haven't really made. I don't know. Knicks fans like to make a lot of noise, and the playoff comes, and it's a donut. Like.
All right, we'll see. We also got Phoenix against LA. The Lakers. I don't think they lost a single group stage game.
no,
So
but
they
they're
got the
somehow
number
like
one.
500,
Yeah,
which makes no sense. Like you're undefeated in the in-season tournament, but are 500 for the year.
I think this is going to be a really close game.
Yeah,
But I think the Lakers might take it.
but Booker and KD both need to play. Honestly,
They do.
yeah,
Mhm.
because Beal's not going to be back yet. Probably
Yeah.
not till next week, and Booker and Durant have no excuse not to play this game.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say the Lakers, but it's gonna be it's gonna come down to the wire. Honestly, it'll be a close game all the way.
Mhm. Now that we have the picks out of the way, I'm kind of curious because last
I'm going
Tuesday.
for LA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I just
Um,
think that I think LeBron's going to be in the locker room just bothering all those
Yeah.
guys. Like, hey man, win the in-season tournament. Jordan never did that. You guys got to get this for me.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay, I like it. Watching last Tuesday, it was the last day of like the group stages, and it was pretty interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you guys feel about kind of the point differential being like the end all be all? Because I don't love it.
I love it.
You do?
I do because it's fun because it's like the Celtics are up 30 on the Bulls. And it's like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but they need to try to at least win by 23 to take care of business. So it makes it interesting because it makes the players play because they're actually not playing to win. They're actually playing to win by a certain amount. So it makes it fun.
Right, but in that game they were just fouling Drummond.
Andre
over and
Drummond
over
putting him
again.
at the line. It makes it fun. Andre Drummond needs to be better at free throws. So
Like, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. It's hard to argue with that.
it
Um,
makes it fun though because then it's like one team wins, right? But to advance, you need the one other team to win, right? So it makes it interesting. It makes fans invested in all the games going on in that one night.
Mhm.
And then you have stuff like NBA TV, right? They're showing all the games at once.
Mm.
They'll show you the end of one game, then go right to the other game. It makes it interesting, especially like November for the NBA is such a dead time because it's still early in the year. Like I always said, the NBA season, like casuals usually start carrying around Christmas.
What
But
if?
now it makes it interesting?
oh, sorry. Did you have something you wanted to say, man?
Yeah, I just have a quick suggestion. Instead of point differential, what if they did like your regular season record goes toward, whether you make it out of the group stage or not. So like, let's say you two teams finish like 3-1 in the group stage. The team with the better record advances. Does that sound like it might be a little better?
I kind of like the point differential because it should be in the context of the tournament, I think,
Yeah.
Okay.
personally.
Yeah, I still feel like the only issue I have with this tournament is like there's no real prize other than $500,000.
Mm.
But other than that, that's what they need to fix. They need to find some real like incentive for the players. But other than that, this tournament has been a success. All teams have really cared about it. So honestly, no complaints from me.
Do we have enough time for a quick question from Oscar? Or no, are we out of time?
Sure.
Yeah. So what if the NBA kind of switched up its format? This isn't what European soccer leagues do, but in Mexico, I believe, and
Okay.
Brazil, they do something with their soccer leagues where it's almost like their soccer basically year round, but they play in 2 different sessions. One is in the winter, and one is in the fall/winter, and one of them is in the spring/summer. What if we did that in the NBA? Just split the season just in 2, maybe even a little bit less. Maybe cut down on some of the games and make it basically 2 big tournaments.
So hold on. So you're saying there would be NBA games in the summer?
Well, so my suggestion would be start regular time, except it ends when the in-season tournament ends. There's a winter champion.
So you end in like January.
Yes, and then you get a month break.
Okay.
So that way the players get all their rest. They get to totally heal up their bodies, and then they go again in the spring, and then they have a championship that ends in June.
I just don't think that will work for the NBA, and here's why. For the summer, right? Like there's a champion crowned at the middle to the end of June, and then you have the whole off season. And I just feel like we've just been so used to end of June, and then you come back beginning to the end of October, and so it's like it just works for the NBA. I don't really see how how 2 sessions would work. Then you just have teams playing all year round, and honestly, that's pointless.
Well, they'd get 2 big breaks, and that's the problem. All the players are like, we're taking rests because we're tired and our bodies can't keep going like this. And then you get 2 big breaks, and the players would get to play as hard as they want, as hard as they can for the time.
But Oscar, players are still going to do that because NBA players at the end of the day are drama queens.
I don't know. I that's some like barstool sport like analysis. I mean, bro, the human body can only do so much. You need to rest. 82 games is a lot.
I think shortening the regular season is probably the easiest way to go.
Yeah. No, you have to. Cut back-to-backs, get rid of that.
Yeah.
And then, shorten the regular season somewhat.
I like the idea, though.
Yeah, just something to think about, just for the people.
It works for soccer, though.
Yeah,
it works
it's
great
different.
for soccer.
The thing is, I don't really follow those leagues that much, but I think it would work great in the NBA. I think it would address pretty much all the problems we have. Like the regular season isn't competitive enough, but players rest too much. I think it would address all that.
Okay, but Oscar, to your point, players would still rest no matter what, because NBA players are just conditioned to do that.
Why though? I feel like you're just saying that I feel like they present good reasons. They're like, our bodies are shot. We keep getting injured, and like we all get injured and come playoff time.
Devin Booker had a sore foot for 2 weeks.
Well,
it just didn't play, so I don't know.
I mean, that's just one player, though. I think it would work. I think if you gave them two long like off seasons, I think that they'd play more. But that's just me.
Yeah. I just don't see how it works in the NBA. But let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for listening to Beyond the Box Score this week. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a great one.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.